doing, not self-reflection per se, but, like, kind of. I've really, like, just random memories have been popping up in my mind lately. And I'm, it's coming up on my birthday. Next week, I'll be 31. Is it next week? Fuck, man, I'm almost 31. And I don't know, I just have really been just like, in my mind, just an old memory will pop up from my 20s. All these memories are from my 20s. And I have just come to the realization that I do not relate to my older self, my younger self, at all anymore. I don't even remotely relate to who I used to be at all. This memory will pop up, whatever it may be, and I just like that. I wouldn't make any of those choices now. I wouldn't do anything like that. Like, it's almost like watching someone else's memories, because I'm just so vastly different from what I was like then. And I mean, I guess I could give a couple examples and quit being so fucking vague. And of course, as soon as I say I'm going to give an example, I can't think of one. I don't know, man. Just any of the number of fucking things that I did when I was younger. Like, here's one. Say I got invited to go to a house party, which happened a lot, which is what I didn't really go to bars when I was younger at all. I would go to house parties. So this one time I got invited to go to a house party, and I was with a couple of my friends. I didn't know a single person that was going to be there. I didn't give a shit. I figured I would be able to get free drinks, and I randomly drove to a complete stranger's house on a side of town that I wasn't familiar with late at night with people who were older than me, a lot, mostly guys there. I was one of the only girls. And I got fucking shit-faced to the point where I was not safe. I would never do that now. If somebody late at night asked me to go anywhere, fuck no. I wouldn't give a fuck if it was a Friday night or a Saturday night. No, I gotta get up and live my life tomorrow, so no. Absolutely not. I'm not going to no stranger's house. So that's one out of many examples of, kind of what I'm talking about here. And, like, even small stuff, even, like, not making stupid decisions, just the way I interacted with people in my 20s. I was, like, incredibly flirtatious, and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't relate to that anymore. I would be super flirtatious and, I guess, promiscuous. I don't know if that's the right word, because that has such a negative connotation. I just wasn't shy about certain things, and now, hell no, you would think I was a complete prude. I just, no, I don't flirt. I mean, I'm in a relationship, so I wouldn't flirt anyways, but, like, I didn't even flirt to get the guy I have now. Like, I don't know, I was down for anything when I was younger. I would go anywhere, hang out with anyone. My brain wasn't fully developed. I mean, our brains don't fully develop till we're like 25. And it really shows in the way that I acted when I was younger and the choices I thought were fine to make. The person that I am now is I'm very boring. I go to work and I come home and I take care of my kid and I do it all over again the next day and the next day. On the weekends, I like to go thrift shopping, and I like to watch movies, and I like to watch YouTube, and I like to spend the night at my boyfriend's house and maybe, I don't know, do whatever we're doing. I don't know. I like to go out to eat at restaurants once in a while when I can afford it. And that about fucking sums me up, if I'm being serious. Like, I don't find joy in any of the shit that I used to in my 20s. I feel like my 30s are going to be a completely different chapter in my life. It already feels that way. Like, I really started to take a turn in my late 20s for the better. Like, 28, 29, I really started making good choices for myself. Excuse me. But even then, I was still that wildness was still there a little bit, you know, and I still made some reckless choices. And just last year, 29, 30, and now almost 31, I just do not relate to the old me. And these random memories that pop up are just so obscure and random that it's like it's not even a story worth telling. Like, one of the memories was I was on one of my friend's back porches, and there was a random guy there, and I just started going out of my way to flirt with him, and, like, just remembering the things that I said and the way I acted. Not that it's bad to flirt. I'm not down on myself or anything. Just, it's just not the way I would ever act today. Even if I were single, I would never. I would look at a random dude sitting on the porch and want to get away from him. Like, I'd want to go inside and not be around a stranger. Like, I'm a lot more reserved now, quiet to myself. The way I am now, I feel like I'm finally getting back to who I really am, because the way I act now resembles the way I was when I was younger, when I was an adolescent. Quiet, kind of reserved, very kind, but not friendly. I'm much more confident now. I was insecure when I was younger. Now I'm not really. I mean, I have my insecurities, but it doesn't come out in the way that I am. Like, I'm very glad that I'm me, you know, and I'm not, you know, I don't have jealousy towards other people or anything like that. But the way that I talk to people and the way that I act and the choices I make very much more reflect who I was when I was really young, like grade school young. And I feel like in my 20s, I really lost myself in a very significant and impactful way. And I don't completely know why. I really think it would be interesting for me to just really dive deep into myself, maybe write it out in a diary or something, because I wonder why I was comfortable with the choices I made. It was, like, fun and exciting, but even the parts that weren't fun, they were just chaotic and dangerous, and I still was cool with it. And now I'm so routine, and I don't deviate my life from, you know, I still have spontaneity. I'm still spontaneous from time to time. Like, I like having fun. I just don't want to be vulnerable in the way that I was in my 20s. I just allowed myself to be at the mercy of the people around me when I was younger. And maybe that's just, you know, where I'm at now. Of clearly that's not something I'm willing to do now. But the way I handled my friendships and relationships and strangers, I could be shady at times and dishonest, and I think I was definitely more exciting when I was younger and probably more fun to be around. But I wouldn't trade what I have now for that. I was a fucking mess. A complete fucking mess. It's just something that really has, it's like an epiphany I've had of just, damn, I am a completely different person than I was in my 20s. Completely different. Like, I look at the old choices I made, like I've already said this, but it's like watching a stranger live their life, because I would never now. I just didn't understand consequences, and I didn't give a fuck about consequences. And now that's always at the forefront of my mind. If I make this choice, how is that going to impact me? Is, you know, and that kind of stuff just, I guess, didn't matter when I was, I don't know. That's the last part of your brain to develop, though, is the, you know, understanding consequences, and at least I've heard. So I guess it makes sense that that's the part of me that just never really caught up until recently. But then I think about all the people that knew me then and don't know me now, and the version of me that they know is not who I am at all. And there's probably a lot of people out there that don't fucking like me at all because of how I was then. And it makes me wonder you know, if their opinion would change if they knew me now. Where I worked there when I was in my early 20s and quit. And didn't work there for a long time. And just went back, you know, a few years ago. And when I came back and all these people that knew me when I was in my early 20s saw me in my late 20s, they were like, I guess this is an answer to that question of what would people think when they saw me, if they saw me now, because that did happen. A good handful of people still work there that worked there before. And they were all like, who is this? Like, this is a completely different person. And they were all incredibly impressed with how much I had grown up and changed. And everyone that I talked to or that I heard talked behind my back said that I was just almost a completely different person. I mean, I've always been me. You know, I've never been fake or inauthentic, but just where my mindset was and how toxic I was and how little I think I valued myself really dictated the way I lived my life. And now that I'm older and just want to enjoy my life, I'm just, I think, much more willing to enjoy the small things. And I've also dealt with a lot of mental health issues, and so now, you know, that I'm in a mentally good place, I'm in a healthy place, that helps a lot, you know, when you're really struggling with mental health, it can really affect your decision making and the, you know, the path you take. It's just kind of wild to look back and see and remember that not too far in my past, I was a completely different version of myself. And I've grown and changed for the better. I know I have. I feel like I'm a better person. I feel like I'm more who I really was when I was younger, and I've really gotten back to who I really am without the influence of, like, you know, alcohol, drugs, without the influence of self-hatred and risk-taking and all these negative things that were heavily prevalent in my 20s. And it's kind of just cool to realize how much I've changed and to be so thankful that I lived through those years, because I don't know how the fuck I did. Especially before I had my kid, I was a mess, to say the least. You know, I got so much better once I became a mother. But then, even then, I still would talk to people and react in ways that I wouldn't now. I was much more angry, and my impulse control was much lower, and I feel like I'm finally a grown-up. You know, coming up to 31, I finally feel like I'm actually adulting. I feel like a real grown-up. And, I'm really glad I'm in my 30s. I dreaded it when I was 29, but I'm really fucking glad I'm in my 30s. I feel like it's a new chapter. I feel like this is going to be a really good part of my life that when I look back on when I'm older, I will look back at this time fondly. Why the fuck am I getting so emotional? This is ridiculous. Alright, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. I'm going to go ahead and go. Just remember, there's always hope. Tomorrow will be a better day.